All right, we're going to pick up here. We have rewriting equations. This actually goes into section 1.4 in your textbook, so you might want to turn to those pages for this section. We are not going to go as in depth in this as we probably could, because we're going to be seeing more of this as the year progresses. Now, we're looking at a formula. A formula is an equation that relates two or more quantities, usually represented by variables. Right, if you have an equation with lots of variables in it, odds are you're looking at a formula. There are a lot of formulas. You've seen them. You're going to be seeing more of them, and we're going to be dealing with them throughout the course of the year. This particular formula is the distance formula, which says that distance is equal to rate times time. D is distance, R is rate, and T is time. Now, when we have a formula, a lot of times what we're going to be asked to do is to solve for a variable. What that means is to rewrite the equation as an equivalent equation, which means it's the same values so we want to rewrite it without changing the values. Just like we do when we're solving, we don't want to change the values. But we want one variable on the side and not on the other side. So for instance, I want to solve the formula C equals 2 pi r for r. C equals 2 pi r for r. Well, this is, though it may not look like it, a one-step equation. The variable that we want by itself is r, right here. To get r by itself, we have to undo the operation that is being done to it. The operation being done to r is multiplication. We're multiplying r by 2 pi. So to undo that, we will divide r, 2 pi r, by 2 pi. If I do it on one side of the equal sign, I have to do it on the other. Here they cancel out, and I'm left with C divided by 2 pi equals r. R is by itself on one side of the equal sign, and it is not on the other side of the equal sign. Therefore, we have solved this formula for a variable. We solved it for r. Let's try something a little bit more complicated here. We want to solve the volume formula, V equals 1/3 B times H for H. Then find the height when the volume is 135 feet and the area of the base is 30. We have two parts to this problem. First, we want to solve for H. Then we want to use the new equation that we've got to find the height. So I'm going to start by rewriting my equation. V equals 1/3 BH. And now my goal is to solve for H. So I want to divide 1/3 BH by 1/3 B. And if I do it on one side, I have to do it on the other. Over here, everything cancels except H. And I've got V over 1/3 B equals H. Now this is a little strange because usually we will not want a fraction on the bottom of a fraction. So what we will do instead is pretend that we are dividing 1V by 1/3. The reason why we're doing that is because, as I've said, the calculator can handle that very easily. So if I divide 1 by 1/3, I get 3. So that would be 3v over b. 1/3, 1 divided by 1/3 is 3. Since it's 3, the whole number, it goes on top of the fraction. So 3v over b equals h. That is the formula solved for h. The second half of the question says that we want to find the height, h, when the volume is 135, so v equals 135, and the area of the base, b, is 30. The first thing I need to do here, I'm going to rewrite my formula, 3v over b equals h. Now I want to replace my variables, the variables that I'm given, the volume and the area of the base, with the numbers. The volume is 135, so I will replace v with 135. I will replace the area of the base b with 30. I can plug this into my calculator because it's all numbers, and it will tell me what h is. So I have 3 times 135 divided by 30. And it tells me that 3 times 135 divided by 30 is 13.5. So my height is 13.5. All right, I want you to try to solve this. I'm going to pause the video, or I want you to pause the video rather, and answer both questions. Make sure that you answer both questions. You need to solve the formula for W. You need to solve it for this W here. Then you need to find the width, W. You have 2 jobs. Solve for W and then find the width. Okay, so I've broken this up into 2 parts. This is the first part. All I did here was solve for W. As you can see, I had to subtract 2L from both sides. On one side they cancel. On the other side, I have P minus 2L. Since I'm trying to get W by itself, I divided by 2, and I ended up with P minus 2L over 2 equals W. I'm going to use this equation to answer the next question. The next question, of course, is what is the width when the length is 9 and the perimeter is 32? Well, P is the perimeter, L is the length, so I use my equation, I substituted in the values, and then I used order of operations to solve the problem. 32 minus 2 times 9 over 2 becomes 32 minus 18 over 2, which becomes 14 over 2, which becomes 7.